First story. I found secrets and need feedback. There is a lot that goes into this, but I will try to give as much of a rundown as I can without missing anything important. Backstory. About a year ago, my wife confronted me about my usage of porn. Firstly, I'm not here to argue opinions on that topic. This was something that was a very hard line boundary for my wife, that she made very clear early in our relationship. At the time, I told her that it was not an issue and would not be an issue and understood the boundary. However, I was not willing to admit to myself or anyone else that I had an addiction issue. So for many years, I lied about my porn usage and kept it hidden, essentially leading a double life as an addict. Like most addicts and liars, they believe their mask is believable and the world around them is fooled. When everything came to light, my wife was obviously devastated, feeling betrayed and questioning everything about our relationship as I had lied about so much for so long. I entered into recovery and began to address my behaviors and the underlying causes trauma. During this time, I was not perfect. I lied more, I slipped up, and fell down more than a few times. Currently, I am in a place where I feel confident in my recovery and my healing, continuing to work towards a healthy lifestyle. During this time, many fights were had, as my wife was very hurt, betrayed, and questioning her own self-worth. Recently, I have discovered that my wife held a secret Reddit account that she was using to advertise for anonymous hookups, fantasy fulfillment, sexual encounters, etc. This account extends almost 4 years back. I own my mistakes and choices. I am also aware that my behaviors extended into the entire relationship, not just the previous year after being discovered, but due to the way I treated my life and lead a double life in a state of addiction. The time gap of these instances bothers me, for I believed that she believed my lies and things in our relationship were good and healthy. After finding this account, I confronted my wife, and in the confrontation I was able to see hundreds of DMs, but was not able to read any of them. Before I was able to gather any more information, she deleted the account along with any evidence of guilt or innocence. A reasoning that she gave me is that she knew something in our relationship was wrong, and that there was an aspect of our intimacy that was missing. Because my usage of adult material had been an issue in the past and early in the relationship, she says that she suspected I had never stopped, but couldn't prove it, and only felt the distance between us. So she reasoned with the thought process of, if he doesn't care and does what he wants, so will I. She says that nothing happened in real life and everything was restricted to the Reddit account and the DMs. She says that everything was simply fantasy and chatting to fulfill a void in an unhealthy way. She admitted and owns that her approach was wrong, and has even apologized for spending so much time condemning my behavior, while keeping this secret to herself. We have had long and emotional talks regarding everything that has happened in our relationship now that we have both experienced betrayal and being the betrayer. We have come to the conclusion that we do love each other very much and want to heal our relationship and repair our bond and trust. I am struggling with a few different things. For me, and in my opinion, while I agree with my wife's stance on porn and the effects on the relationship it has had, I do feel that is impersonal in the instance of it as stimuli and control. I was not interacting with people or exchanging photos of myself or putting mental effort into the exchange. Her actions feel very personal as they came from a place within her, expressing fantasies, desires, and taboo ones. Her actions were advertising for hookups specifically local to where we live, requesting specific fantasies, exchanging pictures with strangers and having intimate conversations. I'm torn because she has given me reassurance that nothing has happened in real life. She has even offered to take a polygraph on the topic. I want to believe her. I am struggling to do so because of the context of the posts and comments I was able to see. Things that gave specifics, like location, times, and things like, I want to make this happen. setting up meets while at her job or in a public car setting because we share location, etc. My discovering of this side of my wife has also opened up several questions of past incidents that I thought I had an understanding of. She spent so much time accusing me of being a master manipulator and gaslighting her. But now I feel that I have been the one being manipulated. Finding this stuff has made me question so many things. I have even had the desire to reach out to her horrible ex and get his side of the story. Is this a repeating thing and it made him snap? This has also made see a pattern of behavior in her. Very early in our relationship when we were on and off dating, anytime there was a fight or an off, she was quick to go on a date or send a provocative message to someone she found attractive on social media. When we would be on, she would tell me things like it was out of anger or to spite you because I was hurt, nothing happened, etc. Seeing my wife through this new lens has made me look at things differently and wonder if my understanding of the past is not what I thought. All of this is still very fresh, and I know I need to get professional help for myself and for our marriage. I have gone to my wife on more than one occasion with my feelings and insecurities. She has continued to give me the same reassurance that nothing happened in real life and some of the questionable content was just part of her feeling worthless and needing her own level of control or validation. That it was always anonymous and no meetings were genuinely sought. I don't know if it's the pain or if in my gut I truly feel there is more to this, that she is being dishonest or not giving me the whole truth. And I'm afraid I will never know because everything was deleted that could prove innocence or guilt. I just don't know how to make heads or tails of anything right now. I have always held my wife as honest to a fault, but this has shattered that and made me question everything. Again, I know I have sinned here as well and am not trying to play the pure victim here. I understand the reasons she's given me. I just don't know if I believe them or her. Update. We both want to reconcile and repair. She has agreed to counseling. I hear you and agree completely. I'm not disregarding my treatment of her or our vows, and I know what I did was wrong and messed with her mental health in the same ways I'm feeling now. I will say the conversations don't feel balanced, and I think counseling will be a good place for these talk to mediate. I feel like if her gut says this, she pushes and pushes until satisfied or catches me in a lie. However, if when I do the same I feel like the conversation either gets shut down or deflected back to my actions and my questions aren't directly addressed, I just don't know what to think. My sponsor has advised me to stop the witch hunt, stop looking for information and start looking for connection. But I just can't feel the connection if I feel like there's still something I don't know. I don't need or frankly want the context of the chats. That would do more damage than anything. Much like her knowing every video I've watched or picture searched and used wouldn't do her any good. I just need some kind of solid definitive that nothing was in the real world. Update. No evidence of one way or the other. Any evidence of actual meets would be in the DMs and those are gone. I've tried reaching out to a few people that left her comments requesting the bro code but got no reply. Only other thing I can think of is finding the email account she used and maybe something there, but I'm sure it's been sanitized by now. I rifled through her phone as much as I can. Checked the obvious stuff, but she's had this curtain of innocence over my head for so long. I have to remember to think like I did as an addict and think of all the sneaky shit I would do to hide. But I need the time and access to her phone. Update. Thoughts I've gathered. I hear you all and thank you for input. I do see that I have been manipulated and gaslit and am dealing with someone who has so many people fooled of what or who she is. I'm aware that trying to repair this will be hard and require genuine effort from both sides, including honesty. I'm not going to ignore my gut and time will tell. For those telling me to run, I hear you, and if circumstances were different I'd be gone already. But there are complications that prevent that from being a viable option at the moment. It's still an option, but due to those circumstances, it's my dead-end last option. I get the concept she's trying to sell. The excitement and risk and making it as real as possible plays to the fantasy. It also plays into her need for control. The more real it becomes, the closer to that line the more thrill. As the woman in these exchanges, she has all the control. Guys are guys, especially guys trolling for a non-sex on Reddit. They will do backflips, say anything, send any pic for 1% chance of it happening and would meet without hesitation. She has all the power. And the thrill of the control is knowing at the flick of her finger, she has all these people begging to be with her, and can realistically make it happen at her will. The psyche behind it is simple, and I do fully understand as a guy who has done shit on the internet. My only question is whether I trust her that she never pulled the trigger, and only toyed with that line for the thrill and control, and the need to feel attractive wanted when my attention span was being wasted on porn and lying. I also account for the time frame of it all and do believe to a degree she felt my disconnect and lack of intimacy. We also have had past arguments regarding porn, looking at thoughts on social media, etc. So it's safe to assume she knew but couldn't prove and went into a state of if he's meeting his needs online so will I. I do honestly believe a lot of what she has given me. Just still have my doubts, and feel there is more something else she is holding back out of fear of judgment, shame, or that it kill what's left of this marriage. Time will tell. I have a counseling appointment scheduled for myself, and we will be scheduling couples therapy sessions very soon. I don't feel comfortable or safe really talking to her without a mediator at this juncture. I feel if I do it alone she will deflect and avoid any real answers. I do appreciate you all and the genuine feedback back and empathy. Thank you for not judging me and giving me this outlet. It has given me a lot to think on and views to consider. I will do my best to update when I can. Update. I just wish I had taken my time and gone through her phone after finding this prior to confrontation. She has given me reassurance by swearing on things I know for a fact she doesn't take lightly. Polygraph is a hard sell, one I think they are BS and can be beat with prep, too it's expensive af. I agree with she's in damage control mode and is trying to soften the impact as much as possible. I also have known her to be incredibly honest and open. This is the first time I have ever caught he in something. I've seen her firsthand be honest to a fault, costing her friends, relationships with family, job opportunities, etc. So I'm extremely torn believing her word, but also I can't shake the gut instinct that there is more I don't know. I've done as much research as I can using tools to see every comment post, even deleted ones, from the account, but all the hard evidence is in the DM and that's gone. Not to mention she has had ample time to sanitize anything else that might be. Second story. My story of coming home to infidelity. I, 24M, am in the Navy and got to my duty station back in October. I had been talking with this girl, 23F, for about a couple of weeks before I got to my current location. We hit it off right away and became an official couple in November. We spent all our free time together and went and saw all the sights we could see. She's also in the Navy but was only here for her schooling before her first duty station. I fell deeply in love with her, and she made me feel very safe and protected, and reciprocated the feeling. Flash forward to back in the spring, and we started talking more about what we want out of our future, and both agreed that we wanted to be married and have children one day. We weren't in any rush but had just been talking about it. In May she left on orders overseas for her first duty station, and I left for a short deployment a few days later. We emailed every single day and talked more about plans and how much we missed each other. I had been telling her how much I missed her. She said she was feeling a little disconnected from me because I could only email her while I was out. The final week of my deployment was coming up, and I heard from her last on a Saturday. Our radio broke the following Tuesday and we got back the following Friday. I had texted her and tried calling to let her know I was back but she didn't respond. I figured it was because she was sleeping or at work. I went out with somebodies to celebrate us coming back and sent her some heartfelt voice messages. Once I got home she called me and we talked for a while, but something seemed off. She told me she felt disconnected and I asked if there was anything I could do. She said no, but being able to FaceTime call would definitely help. We said goodnight, I love you, and hung up the phone. 4 minutes later I get a text saying, I'm sorry I couldn't tell you this over the phone, but I slept with somebody a couple of nights ago. I'm sorry for breaking your trust. Calling her back to ask what had happened, she sounded unapologetic. It was a guy she works with who asked to come over to hang out. He confessed that he was attracted to her and she said she was attracted to him too. She said he laughs at her jokes and thought she was funny. She said she felt alone and isolated and needed somebody. She also said she hadn't been honest about how she had been feeling, that she wasn't really wanting to get married or have kids someday, and that she doesn't know if she could just love one person. Needless to say, we broke up. It's been a month and I'm still broken. I've been told it's going to take time, which I understand. What I fear is how long this will take. I'm not as bad off as I was initially. Unable to sleep without seeing what she did in my dreams. Unable to eat without feeling and getting sick right after. Unable to speak without stuttering or stammering. What I'm also scared of is starting off new with someone else. Having to try to trust another person with my heart like that. Also trying to understand that I didn't do anything wrong, and that there wasn't anything I could have done to prevent it from happening. I sit alone in my apartment most nights feeling awful. When I try to go out so I'm out of the house, I also feel awful. I hate that it pains me to see happy couples in public or people being affectionate in public. It pains me because I don't have that anymore, and some days all I wish I had was someone to just hold me and let me know I'm okay. It's tough, and it's going to be a longer journey. Eventually I will be okay. Third story. Is it possible to forget the details of an affair? Wife, 45F, and I, 48, am married 25 years, are going through a rough patch right now. I'll admit I haven't been a very good partner lately due to work stress and depression. I just found out she's been talking to an old boyfriend over the past year. She says it's nothing sexual but maybe a bit flirty at times, and the attention makes her feel good. On some level I understand her frustration because she felt unwanted. We both drank too much one night and had a big fight over this. Never anything physical, and we both said some hurtful things. I don't remember all the specifics, but I was left with a feeling that she has been keeping more secrets from me. I have been distant and moody since then, and she asked me what's bothering me. I told her that I know she has been keeping something big from me, and I can't live this way, so maybe we should separate. At first she denied, but the truth finally came out that she had an affair. Not with the old BF 20 years ago. This was crushing news to me, and I started asking questions about the affair. She said could only remember general things like name, age, and where they first met, through work. But she insists that she can't answer any of my specific questions because she doesn't remember. This feels like BS, but when we talk about it she can be very convincing. I want to believe her. It's just hard for me to understand how she could forget those things. I have never cheated, but I do remember details of previous relationships. I guess I'm too emotional over this to even think clearly. So I'm wondering if there's anyone reading this who has forgotten similar details. Does her explanation even seem possible? Wife says she can't remember details of affair. Is this plausible? Fourth story. Urgent advice needed. My BP2 wife cheated today. Long time lurker, but I need some help and maybe affirmation today. Without too much detail, my wife has been off her medicine routine since we both lost our jobs at the same time a few months ago. She's been deteriorating steadily and has closed off socially. This week, she went on a trip to her hometown to visit friends and try to get back into the social swing. I wasn't supportive given her stability, but eventually trusted her to make the call for herself. After hearing me out, she became manic 2 days into the trip and drained our already strained bank account. Her explanation was that she gave it to an old friend who was suicidal over his overwhelming financial situation. She bankrupted us and couldn't understand my anger. I can see someone getting to her heart this way and acting irrational. We put a pause on it as something we will deal with when she came home and called in a loan from a friend. A day later, she started spiraling and went dark on me for 12 hours, so I checked our car's GPS and it was at her ex's house. I messaged him and he confirmed that she was cheating on me and didn't even know that she was married. He also shared they've been talking the entire time we've been married. I had my suspicions. I guess I allowed her condition and keeping her mental health stable to blind me from being realistic. I know that it is common for people with BP and BP2 especially to act out sexually when they are manic, but this seems calculated and deceitful. I love my wife. She's been my best friend since we were just kids. I don't want to see her destroyed over this. I also don't see a way back from it because I believe it will happen again. I can't build a life with someone I can't trust. That being said, I wanted to reach out to the community for advice on how I should view and/or handle the situation from here. Does anyone have experience with anything like this? Did any of you work it out after your BPD loved one cheated? If not, what's the best way to handle the breakup for her mental health? Any and all advice is welcome.